Although this practice is seen frequently overseas, we want to unpack the matter to find out what the likelihood of this practice rising in South Africa, whether the regulators are being able to crack down on securities fraud, otherwise known as insider trading, price manipulation. Solly Kiti from the Financial Services Board is joining me to shed some light on this issue. Of course, it is White Collar Crime Day here on TNBC Africa. We're focusing in on insider trading. I mean, Solly, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Samantha.
In your experience right now, is insider trading coming down in South Africa? Because you've investigated around 260 cases in South Africa. Do you think that the collaboration with the JSE and with the asset management industry is starting to pay off?
Samantha, what I can say is it's under control. To say it's coming down, I mean, human beings will continue to take chances when it comes to, cut corners when it comes to trading on the basis of price-sensitive information. So, but in as far as we as regulators are concerned, we think that incidences of market abuse are under control.
How are you changing your approach when it comes to trying to uncover where these incidences happen in South Africa? Because I'm sure it must be very hard. There are a lot of cases that will go, missed. There are people who certainly won't be looking to report them, the whistleblowers. But how are you changing your approach to uncovering these issues?
I think it's very important for me to explain how we go about sourcing the information with regards to these contraventions of market abuse legislation in South Africa. We've got three main sources of information. In the first instance, we work closely together with the JSE, and they've got very sophisticated surveillance systems in terms of which they can actually see who does what in terms of trying to trade on the basis of inside information. Secondly, we've got an anonymous tip-off line at the FSB where we get members of the public to actually phone us and tell us to report any alleged cases of market abuse. And then through our own sources as well, through their financial media, we also able to do our own surveillance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Relative to the rest of the world, because there's been some certainly high-profile cases that have been reported, but relative to the rest of the world, is this a big issue in South Africa when it comes to fraudulent activities on the equities market and beyond in capital markets here?
Samantha, what I can tell, our market, we've only got one exchange, compared to countries like the United States. So relative to the world, what I can tell you is that market abuse in South Africa, as I said initially in my opening line, is that market abuse in South Africa is under control. We had officials from the SEC in the US here in South Africa in March, and they actually commended South Africa and the FSB in particular about the surveillance systems that we use, which they found to be, world class. They don't even have those type of systems. They've even invited us to come and speak to them and present to them how we go about surveilling the market for market abuse.
So South Africa is being used as perhaps a guinea pig, or as not a guinea pig, but our systems here are being seen as almost pilot projects that could be used throughout the world.
Well, our systems are world class. Our license exchange, i.e. the JSE, has been rated by the WEF for 3 years in succession from 2010 as the best regulated exchange in the world. So that tells you that we, as the FSB, the regulator, there's something very positive and very good that we are doing in terms of regulation of the financial markets.
As someone who oversees this, and because the Securities Act, which came through the SSA, which puts the FSB as the chairman ultimately of the directorate that oversees issues around manipulation of share prices and insider trading, you're ultimately responsible for ensuring a crackdown on this. Your views in terms of getting into the heads of those that are embarking on insider trading. What makes rogue traders tick? Your thoughts on that?
Well, in my view, people who invest in markets, investment gurus will tell you that people who invest in financial markets are motivated primarily by two things, either greed or fear. A person who's greedy will decide to do things which are in contravention of legislation, and that's where we, as the regulators, come in to protect. In terms of markets, there are two issues that we look at. We look at the integrity of the market and market quality. But as regulators, from a market abuse point of view, our concern is with market integrity, to protect the integrity of the market.
The fines imposed can be quite hefty, because you said that penalties can go up to 24 million rand, all the way from 10,000 rand. Typically though, give us a typical case in South Africa and the type of fine that you will have to pay if you're caught for insider trading. And what is the difference dependent on?
Well, with insider trading, I think maybe let me make a distinction between, we've got three types of market abuse in South Africa. In the first instance, we've got insider trading, that is where a person trades on the basis of price-sensitive information which is not yet public, and which, if it were to be made public, would have a material effect.
The market, I've just got to interrupt you, the markets are now closed here in South Africa. So the market is on the day, I think down 1.7%, 42,347 points. So we're heading lower that after hitting record highs earlier this week. Interrupt you there, but had to give that number out. So just to continue in terms of penalties here in South Africa.
Yeah, now in terms of the penalties, I was explaining to you the three offenses that we have, which is insider trading, market manipulation, and false reporting. Now, of the three offenses, it's only in the case of insider trading that we have a capped penalty. And that penalty in the case of insider trading, currently under the Financial Markets Act, is a penalty of up to 1 million rand plus 3 times any profit you would have made or any loss that you would have avoided as a trader. So with the other offenses, i.e. market manipulation and false reporting, those of the penalties are uncapped. So the Enforcement Committee of the FSB can impose any penalty in its own discretion, depending on the facts and circumstances of each case.